Hello, both sides of the conversation family. We welcome you to this virtual space crafted especially for you. My name is Jada Curry, and I'm both sides of the conversation's marketing director and graphics design specialist. I want to take some time to ground us all as a community into this space we are about to open up in, so let's go through our community standards. Both sides of the conversation is providing a safe and honest space for open conversation, so we ask that you all be respectful of that. We also ask that you be respectful of each panelist, host, and participant. We do encourage healthy debates and conversations. Don't personalize anything with anyone. This includes name-calling, bullying, trolling, or shaming. This will not be allowed or tolerated. Your perspective is yours. It is not a prescription. You do not have to agree, but show respect. These community standards apply to all of our live shows and any virtual spaces that we hold on social media, including YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. We want to make sure that we are caring for each other as a community. This is our priority in all of our endeavors as both sides of the conversation. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed today's show and continue to stay in touch with us via YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or all of them. All right, thank you for listening and see you soon.
Welcome, everybody, to Both Sides of the Conversation. I'm John Henry, Executive Director. It is Tuesday. I know y'all looking at communities going, hey, it's 7:30. Hidden Gems usually start at 7 o'clock. Hey, this week we're having a special community highlight. As y'all seen about an hour ago, we had our San Francisco Public Defender on the show. We have another community spotlight. We have 3 shows tonight, y'all, okay? Community. Tony is grinding. We're grinding. We've been up all night, all day, 18 hours, no sleep. But when we love the people, we say we love the people. We just grind for the people. But tonight, we have a special guest tonight. Oakland, is y'all out there?
Town business is in the house.
You know, for all y'all folks that's always saying, both sides of the conversation is always talking about San Francisco. Oh, tonight, Oakland is in the building. All we can do is reach out to our folks in Oakland. We've been trying to get everybody on. We've been having our Oakland representatives here. But tonight, we got a powerful individual that is running for office tonight. Councilman running for District 6 in Oakland. And we're going to bring this brother up here shortly. But Tony, you in the building, my co-host. What's up, pretty Tony?
What's up, community? I'm your girl, Tony Rochelle, both sides of the conversation co-host. It's exciting night, like we told you on the first show. We grinding out here for the people, for the community. And yes, we brought town business to the stage tonight. We love San Francisco. We love the Bay Area. We love our whole community. So y'all get ready for a treat. It's my friend, a good man. He gonna come out and talk to y'all about what he's doing. And I'm just excited. I'm excited.
Now, community, hold your punches back. I know people in Oakland is ready to throw stones at me. This brother got a real powerful name, but it's very complicated to pronounce. So y'all forgive me tonight. Don't be beating me up, Oakland, okay? But we're going to go ahead and have Tony bring up our guest tonight. Just want to tell y'all are in for a phenomenal gym tonight. This is a community spotlight. Again, this is our favorite show of the week. You can ask Tony. All week we hear all the negative stuff that's going on. We hear about the sideshows. We hear about the violence. We hear about all of the negative things that impact our community. But tonight you're going to hear a positive light. And again, we know we're getting close to election. Our shows are going to start picking up as more of our elected officials and folks running for office are trying to get on to do their last plea and information out to the community as we get close to election time. But again, this is what it's all about. We're tapping in with the community. Community, use the live chat. If you're watching on our YouTube, use the live chat. If you'd like to ask some questions tonight, if you're watching us on our Facebook page, our group, or in our Twitter, put it in the live chat. We'll get your comments up here to ask the councilman tonight. But with that being said, I'm going to turn over to Tony to bring up tonight's guest. And y'all in for a sweet one. And we got one more show after this at 8:30. We got an hour with him. Let's make this moving fast. But Tony, go ahead and bring up tonight's guest.
All right, community. Welcome to our platform, your platform. Give it up for my boy, my brother, Yakpasua Zazaboi. the voice of Oakland City Council, District 6. How you doing?
Hey, Tony. Hey, John. I appreciate y'all getting me on the show. For everybody that's watching, Yakpasua Zazaboi, candidate for City Council, District 6, or as I like to say, for East Oakland. I have been in East Oakland for about 26 years, but here's the irony. I know you guys have a lot of fans and a lot of viewers that are in San Francisco. I was actually born in San Francisco. I went to school in Westmore, right outside of Lakeview in Daly City. And when I came to Oakland, I was about 18 years old. And as you guys know, back in the mid 90s, it was a pretty funky place, and I don't mean funky as in the neighborhood, but we were still getting at the tail end of the crack era and getting ready to go into the next drug era. It was pretty funky out here. I was inside of every single piece of trouble that an 18-year-old can get into. And if anybody else was living in Oakland and Frisco in the 1990s, then you know exactly what I mean. Whatever was out there to get into, that's what I was at. Moving fast forward, I ended up starting a business. I ended up starting actually two different businesses. My first business was in media production. And so for everybody that thinks that doing a podcast or doing any kind of a TV show is an easy feat, it's not. It's a lot of organizations, a lot of time, a lot of dedication. And so I appreciate you guys putting in that extra effort to do this and bring the information to the community. And then some of the things that I've been telling people of what we're up to out here is really just kind of changing the narrative. We've been living under this belief system that we are at the end of the line for anything. And at the end of the day, it's like where we decide we want to be at is where we're going to be at. In District 6, which is East Oakland, right before the last district, which is District 7, we're all family out here. There's a lot of good things happening, a lot of business people, a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of families that are really like great people. And sometimes the effects of folks who come into the community and do stuff that's just really not how we roll, it gets put on the news, and then we kind of lose sight of where it is that we want to go. And so again, thank you guys for having me on. My name is Yakpasua, and I'm the candidate for District 6 in East Oakland.
Welcome. Thank you. So we're going to just jump all into it. We're going to be all up in your business tonight, so I hope you're ready for this. The first question is, what do you hope to accomplish as a city council member?
Yeah, so the first thing that I look at in anything I go into is I have to understand as much information as possible. Since I started my first business in 2001, I kind of got a little bit of my feet wet inside of how the city operates. As many folks who know me have known me from back then, my first business was media production, and I did a documentary back in 2001 about the Oakland Sideshow. Actually, it was in the year 2000. And the reason why I did the documentary is because I was one of those people that were out there at the sideshows. And when I used to look at the news, and the news would say all kind of barbaric things about us, and I used to think in my head, like, that's not who I am. But these people are portraying us, and other people are telling our stories for us. And this is when I realized the power of, number one, media, the power of ideas, and also like how our mindsets can be when we believe that this is all that we are. I did this documentary, and I did it in a way that kind of just showed another side of the story. And so we kind of hopefully I don't go too deep on this, but we kind of start to learn how we build our realities. And when we build our realities, it's all based off of the information that is told to us. So if I tell you, 4 or 5 times a day that East Oakland is bad, East Oakland is murderous, East Oakland is this, East Oakland is that, you start to believe that for yourselves. And so the power of media is what got me into the Sideshow documentary, because I knew for a fact, I knew who I was. I knew I wasn't what they were saying. And so here's the story that wasn't being told. It's one of the reasons why I wanted to run for city council, is because here's a story that's being told about us, but they're not telling the other side of the story. They're not telling the story of a single father who started a business on Seminary in MacArthur. For the last 11 years, I started a tech business and was successful. I've helped over 1,500 families in Oakland with technical support and computer issues, all while keeping my door wide open. I never got robbed. I never got stolen from. Nobody jacked me. Nobody messed with any of my customers. It wasn't because I had a secret weapon or I didn't even have a single security guard. It's because I believed and I knew a different experience with the Black community than folks would talk about us. So that was 11 years in East Oakland. That's what I did. This is what I hope to build in our community. Is first, it's like we got to change that mindset of how we look at ourselves and how we look at our community. In order for our kids to change, we have to be able to give them a different story, a different narrative. If we keep saying that you come from the worst and it's the worst and everything is bad and everything about our community is just not it, we come up with this deficit mindset. Nobody is talking about this in our city. Everybody talks about it as if this is the problem instead of the symptom of the problem. The symptom of the problem is that value system that we hope to bring and change in the city of Oakland, and most specifically in East Oakland. And so I hopefully I didn't go too deep on that, but I'm just going to kind of that's the high levels. We're changing the narrative. We're changing what people say about us. If I tell you that your family is bad, you should be offended, especially if you're not bad, right? So right now, I'm in the frame of mind where we're offended. Everybody keeps talking about us as if we're the last things to be thought about, as if we're the problem and not part of the solution. I was part of that problem. I used to be out there in the streets. I used to be out there running around. Now I'm coming fast forward to being part of the solution. You cannot have a solution for my people, for us, without us at the table. This is what I bring into the City Council of Oakland.
Wow, words are very powerful, like you said. So you speak it and it will come to life. I really believe that. So with that being said, have you already started volunteering? What kind of volunteering work have you done for the city of Oakland?
How far back you want me to go?
This is your platform. This is your hour. What's up?
Yeah, let's go for it. So again, in 2001, I was a young person, didn't know much about what was going on, and thankfully somebody else kind of pulled me into the mix and gave me a little bit of information, like this is how the city works. The problem back then, and here's the unfortunate part about volunteerism. Volunteerism is asking somebody to do something with the time that they don't get paid for. That should be at our hearts. Those are the heroes of our community. If we look at the people who get paid to make the changes in our community, the people who have been charged with it and they're not doing the work, those are the people that we need to hold accountable. So volunteering, I was on committees around solutions for the sideshows, and let's get into that a little bit later on. But I was on the committee, the very first committee that Oakland had about solutions to the sideshows. Moving forward after that, after I started my business, I was on the CDBG, the Community Development Block Grant Committee, making sure that the money that was supposed to go towards certain organizations that were doing good in our community was getting there. We were part of the David E. Glover Technology and Education, David D. Tech, the center that's right across from Eastmont Mall. And I got involved with that because the late David Glover actually walked into my shop when I first started it, and he reached out to me and brought me into the mix. And I remember people doing that stuff when I started my business. And so every time I get an opportunity to give people information about how the city works and how they can get engaged and how the problems that they're having are something that we can all fix together, if we do not take no for an answer. This is the type of activities that I really did at my shop. Even though it was disguised as an IT business, you might as well have called it a community center. We rarely talked about computers in my business. After the CDBG, I was also the first person, one of the first people that were actually leading the Heartlands Merchants Association, which was an almost all Black merchants association at Seminary and MacArthur. At Seminary and MacArthur, again, between the gas station and Camden, you have an all Black business district. This was some of the things that came to fruition because this is what we wanted to see. And then when people said that ain't gonna work, yeah, we don't listen to people that say it ain't gonna work. We did it, and now we have the proof that it can be done. I mean, you're talking about a little baby Black Wall Street over there. Every business over there is Black owned, and it's a friendly experience. You go over there, whether it's to Lightning Boxing right on the corner of Seminary and Camden, to Rita at the Olive Street, which is where my business used to be at, to Fromm's Martial Arts, who has probably taught almost half of East Oakland martial arts, and through the martial arts has taught many of our young men and women respect, integrity, and all of the values that we want to see in a community. And then next door to him, David at the Sugar Sweet Cafe. And then next door to him is Connie at API Insurance. Oh, and then there's one other business. Oh my God, they're gonna get in my head. But the brother over there, they have all the natural products, the sea moss and incense and all the things. Oh my God, he's gonna kick my butt for not remembering the name of the business. I apologize, brother. I'm gonna have to work on that one. Circling around the corner, you have Gerald at Creative Directions. He does planning and designs for submission to the city of Oakland for contractors and developers. Then across the street, we got barbers. We got another person over there that's doing, oh my goodness, Bojack's Kitchen. I mean, all of these are Black businesses right in East Oakland that people don't even know exist in a community. So when everybody talks about all the stuff that's going on in East Oakland, it's like, hold on, come outside. There's a lot of other stuff that's going on too. And if we don't change the narrative, then people devalue what we're doing. Then the investment goes away. Let's tell people what's really going on in East Oakland. What's really going on. We're going to get to the issues. But right now, let's talk about the things that we know are working really, really well. And that's for to be an undeniably focus and attention on what's happening in East Oakland that we know is working. These are places that provide jobs, provide tax revenue for the city of Oakland. And more so than that, you don't hear about any of that activity in our area. And I'm not saying we have a special solution or some special sauce. We're just active in our community. As Black business owners, as Black members of our community, we just prioritize making sure that we get good services. And this is what I've brought to the community. And you ask anybody over there and they'll tell you, man, that dude right there, everything he's saying, he's been talking this stuff for the last 11 years. We made it a reality. Before anybody says it can't work, we've shown it can work. It works through leadership. But first it works through vision. You got to be able to see it to believe it. If you can't see it, then there's no way to believe it. We see it, we did it, we believe it.
Wow, very powerful stuff. I got to jump in there because, it's like you got my blood flowing over here. I'm always about listening and responding. And it's like, man, you're a powerful brother. And I just want to say, you're right. That's one of the things that we're trying to do, continue to change the narrative. And I appreciate you saying that about the media. And when we created both sides of the conversation, okay, that was one of the things we didn't want to be. We didn't want to be central media. We didn't want to be the Fox News. We didn't want to be none of those. We wanted to provide a platform for our people from our voice to really talk about the struggles and the things that really impact us so that we can hear it. I'm tired of people telling us what Black folks' problem is. I want to listen to the Black folks and listen to them and tell me what the problem is and how do we fix it. Because there is a solution. It's a lot of work. There's a lot of investment that has to go beyond this solution to make it a reality. But with that being said, I want to jump in there because you're right. Oakland does get a negative rap when it comes to the media coverage of the violence, the sideshows, the things that's taking place right now. It's like, oh, it's 106 homicides in Oakland, right? And there's other cities that's climbing right behind, but because of other political forces and tourism and different things, it doesn't get highlighted as much. But because this is Oakland and everybody's not being real to true, gentrification is taking place, things are happening. So they're painting this picture to push people out in the community. In my experience of living in Oakland, also working with some of the community organizations in Oakland, there's some phenomenal folks doing work in the community over there in Oakland, especially in East Oakland. We know the gentrification and things that are taking place in West Oakland, okay? And we see those models pushing towards the east, right? There's some phenomenal leaders. There's a huge Mario race going on. I've walked in community with some of the candidates, Loren Taylor, Treva Reed, Greg Hodge. I've been in the community trenches cleaning up and helping and supporting and listening to their ideals of phenomenal folks. But there is a change, right? You go in Oakland, there's this air of like we need change, and everybody's looking for what is that way, and we're hoping that the voice, the leadership that you're talking about, get the folks in there to really change the dynamics of East Oakland. But the investment part, one of the things that we have to talk about, you running for office, these developers that you're talking about, Oakland separated by the 580 freeway. You cross one side of the freeway, it's all of the support and resources there. You get on the other side in the flatlands, and it's trouble. There's food deserts, there's things happening, but there's some phenomenal organizations like East Oakland Collective, Roots, different folks that are ground-rooted organizations in the community that are making impact, helping change the dynamics of the community. But how do we get the resources? How do we get the folks behind these different organizations to really move Deep East Oakland forward? And then when we talk about developers, as a councilman, what are the things that you are looking for putting in place that help keeps the ownership of Black folks in Deep East Oakland?
Yeah, let's start with that. How do we keep the ownership? First thing we got to do is we got to buy. We got to buy stuff, right? You can't own something if you don't own it, right? The areas where we're at, and let's go back a little bit and talk about how we value our community. We've seen our communities change hands over time, mostly because at one point in time, somebody sold it. So if somebody came in and bought your house, they didn't buy it by force. They bought it because somebody sold it. And usually somebody sells it because more than likely either A, they're ready for a change, which could be what it is. B, they can't afford to pay it anymore, which is a serious situation. Or C, they just didn't see a value in keeping it. And a lot of times we hear people say, damn, I wish I held on to that property. Damn, I wish I kept that. And what makes somebody say, damn, how come you didn't value it before? And this is where we go into those narratives that we talk about, the narratives that people talk about us and the ones that we decide to start believing for ourselves. If we start believing that we are actually the value, nothing changes in this community. When somebody sells a house for $300,000, and then 4 years later it's worth $800,000, or 10 years later it's worth $800,000. Don't be specific on my numbers. But later on down the line, that $300,000 house is now worth $800,000. Did the wood change? Did the sidewalk change? Did the name of the street change? Nothing changed except for somebody determining that this particular piece of property is now more valuable. You get what I'm saying? So how are we looking at ourselves, and how are we looking at our own community to say to ourselves, this is valuable? East Oakland, especially where we're at right now, if you're not looking at this as the hottest real estate game in America, you don't know what you're looking at. People are going to trick you into thinking that this place it's all right. I mean, look, if I'm doing a deal with you right now and you want to sell me something for $100 and I only want to pay you $50, and it's my job to try to help you think inside of your head that it's not worth $100. I'll give you $40 for it, because it just really ain't that. And if I got enough people that are telling you, it's only worth $40, if I even got the news that's telling you, and everybody's jumping in, and the appraisers telling you, it's only worth $40, but then you sell it to somebody, and all of a sudden that $40 is now worth $110. I mean, I'm just saying, don't lose what you got because you're letting somebody else tell you how valuable you and your community are. Let's figure out how we get the narrative change so that people can start valuing themselves for what we want to value it at. If you say your home is worth $1 million, then damn it, it's worth $1 million. But if you let somebody else tell you it's only worth $800,000 and then you sell it for that, well, hey, it's your fault. What are we doing to get that value up? These things are like numbers that are created by somebody who's creating a value for you and your community. Hold on to what you got. Let's figure out how we can buy more. Let's make East Oakland a very exclusive place for somebody to buy some property, and that's how you get things moving. Let's figure out how we get more businesses open so there's destinations in East Oakland. We got a whole entire commercial corridor that is relatively vacant. And again, as an entrepreneur and as a successful business person in District 6, I look at all of it as opportunity. I'm like, if I wasn't doing this right now, I'd be talking to East Oakland Ventures or something like, how can we start up more and more organizations? How can we start up more and more businesses in this district? I know how to do it. I have neighbors that know how to do it, that were willing and ready to take the risk on East Oakland, and it paid off. They're hiring people. They're doing great things. I mean, we could talk about the pandemic and Fromm's martial arts and how we came together and served the entire East. I ain't gonna say the entire East Oakland. We can only do what we could do, but we served hundreds of families through the pandemic because we worked together and brought services to families in Oakland. You know what I'm saying? And people see the value, and when people see the value, they come and support. When you give good services, people come back. So figuring out these different things. When I say to you, if you want to go to a business and you want to walk in there and smell smoke and smell weed smoke, cigar smoke, see a whole bunch of homies chilling out, but you asking me to spend, however much money on your product or service, think about that experience that I'm having as I'm coming into your business. And when you think about the customer, when you think about the customer's experience and what they're seeing, then you can start figuring out, okay, I see why I'm not getting as much foot traffic over here in my area. Anyway, I can go on and on and on. I've consulted with many businesses before. I know how to get that business area bustling in East Oakland. I know what it feels like to have somebody devalue yourself and tell them, no, thank you, and turn down the money and keep it going and build.
This is definitely good stuff, what you're saying. I mean, again, we appreciate you being here. But let me ask you something. When you hear about something that concerns you in your city, our city, what steps would you take to see this concern be resolved?
So the first thing you do is you listen. I mean, I know this sounds like rocket science. Listen. A lot of times people will look at you and say, yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. No, you don't know what I mean because you didn't even let me finish the sentence. Don't tell me you know what I mean if you haven't lived this. And if you did, then how come you're not fixing it? How come you're not figuring out the solutions to it? You cannot fix what we're doing from a theoretical aspect. I read a little book, and because I read this book and I figure I know what you're doing. We're all different, and our complexities are beautiful. But they're also the challenge that's out here. And the only way that I know that I can help you is if I first listen, ask questions. You got to build a reality model. And when I say a reality model, I say this to people all the time. If I take this phone right here, now you all know it's a phone, but if I hold it up to you and you've never seen a phone and you just see this green thing with 3 dots, it's like, describe it to me. And you'll say, well, it's got a whole bunch of little circles in it. And, it's got 3 dots that look like some eyeballs. And if I turn around the other way though and turn it on, you'll say, oh, that's an iPhone, something or other. I don't even know what version of iPhone is. But until we talk amongst each other and have a conversation so that you can describe what you see and I can describe what I see, then we can build a reality. Once we have a better reality model, now we can really understand the whole entire situation. What happens in Oakland is people only see it from their side. They see it from their side as being a politician or a policymaker, or they'll see it their side as a police or a resident, but nobody is really talking and saying, let's build a reality that we can all agree to say, I see what you're saying. You know what I'm saying? Like how often does somebody really say, I see what you're saying? And then you can see those gears turn and say, well, now that I have a little bit more understanding of the problem, and I have a lot of understanding of how the city works and how we can solve this problem, then we can come up with the solutions that actually have meaning to the people that it affects.
Wow, very powerful stuff, brother. All I can say is I'm excited to see how things are going to play out because I think you have some great intentional ideals. But I got to jump in here and ask you some other questions because I've been around Oakland politics. I understand some of the things that's going on, the disparities, and how these intentional policies are put into place to continue to hold Black folks down. But got to talk to you about a lot of these performative politics, as I call them. People are always performing, and I know the relationship between the mayor and the city residents is not so great. I've heard stories from both sides. you walking into this realm of councilman, right? How do we continue to hold accountability for the elected officials in place? And how do we call out when we have these folks who are doing performative politics in our community? There's a large investment need in Oakland. When you look at the school district, there's a lot of the stuff that's going on with funding support. A lot of the schools in Deep East Oakland not being funded. The amount of things that are taking place in our school, investing in education. When it comes to this funding and how do we bring resources to Oakland to support the things that community needs to make it a better thriving city, because it's thriving. But to keep it ours and whole, because it seems like every avenue, these performative politics are happening. Folks are calling out this and they're saying they're going to do this, and it's just not being reinvested back in the community. As councilman, what would you do when it comes to that, and holding folks accountable, making sure that our schools are funded, making sure that the police and fire is funded, but also making sure that the community organization and the support services that are needed in our community gets there to the people?
I'm gonna try to start with the very first part, which is the accountability part. Well, that wasn't the first part. There was a whole bunch of different pieces on that. First of all, if we don't vote, then we don't have really a place to say anything, and so that's where we keep on being at the end of this stick. There are a lot of people that make a lot of money and a lot of political. They get a lot of political power by essentially owning our vote. We have, and to me, that's where you say the performative politics. That's what it looks like to me. People that say, "Oh, we're here to help the Black and brown people," but then they never do it, and they say, "Oh, we're working on it still. We're working on it still. We're still working on it, y'all. Hold on, y'all. We're still working on it." And then there's another election season, and somebody else comes around and says, "We're going to work on it again, but a different way." And then they keep saying they're working on it. To me, that's a performance. It's so fake. It's so phony. And everybody claims that they're going to save us and they're going to do something to help us, but it never happens. So that's the first thing I want to say is look at the patterns. Any particular group, political group, nonprofit group, any group of people that says that they're helping you, ask yourself, have they? Have they just helped you? Have they helped the community? Show the receipts. Show me what you've done. Show me in data. If I ask you a question that says, how many Black people have you helped? Where were they at? Where are they at now? And how is the system working to make sure that you're bringing more and more? How is that scaling up? What are you doing? And sometimes, and I don't know the exact statistic, but there's something like, is it 50 or 100 nonprofits, more specifically nonprofits that say that they're helping Black and brown people in Oakland. If all these nonprofits are out here working, then how come we're not seeing the results? Why does things look like they're getting worse for Black people? Call it out by its name. I know we're going to hurt a couple feelings out here. I know a couple people are going to say, you know what, we're going to be mad at him. We're going to try to ban him online and all that stuff. Call it out by name. Do not have any fear of anything that they're telling you. Or you don't want to say that because, listen, I'm not a politician. Let me say that one more time. I am not a politician. You have no career that you can take from me. I registered as an independent, and I did that for one particular reason, because I didn't see nobody on either side that was getting us somewhere. And really, I wish I could have just said I'm registering as a Black man, but that wasn't on there for some reason. I can only use independent, Democrat, Republican, Green Party even. You can be a green person, but you can't be a Black person when you register. All right, let's go on to the next one. So I hope I didn't go a little bit too deep for our viewers.
That's what the platform is for. This is for the people. This is for you, for the community. So keep going deep. Keep on.
But Tony, one quick thing before you go, because I got to say this, and I always tell people, I'm glad you said, when you work for the people, you can't fire me. People say, John, if you say the wrong thing, they're going to ban you. I said, when you work for the people, you can't get fired from the people. Okay,
you
they
can't
can
get
do all
fired
the
from the
things they
people.
want. You can't get fired from the people.
And I'll say this, you know, when I was 18 years old, and this is, you know, this is also part of the reason why I am who I am today, for good or for bad. When I was 18 years old, I was into everything. You know, if you guys are familiar with Frisco, then you know what it is. If you're familiar with Oakland, you know what it is. In the 90s, a lot of people were doing similar things that I was doing from our community. It was promoted to us. You know what I'm saying? I told some folks in a forum the other day, when I was a 7th grader, I was one of the California mathematics champions. I didn't even know what that meant, because that's not what was celebrated in our community. What was celebrated was, did you sell some weed? How much crack you know how to sell? Do you know how to rock it up? Do you know how to bag it up? You know what I'm saying? You got solid 25s? Are you doing quarter? What you doing? You know what I'm saying? How much cash money you got in your pocket? These were the things that were told to us was of value. It was a trick. I fell for that. It didn't matter how smart in math I was, it didn't matter how good I could read. It was this thing of me trying to belong to a culture that we did not create. We did not create crack culture. We did not create drug culture. All of our young people that are out there right now, we didn't create that. You know what I'm saying? It was promoted on them. I was one of those folks that it was promoted on, and it was just like, wait a minute, hold on, this is not just killing us, it's killing me too. And in 1996, maybe 1997, I don't remember this. I'm a little older than I used to be. You see the gray hairs. Walking downtown Frisco, late night, me and my friend at the time, and you know, as it happened to so many other people, car rolls up, you know, they jump out, ski masks, guns. I get robbed, and in a split second, they just start shooting. Had my hands not been up in the air, my elbow took the bullets, I would have took 2 to the brain. Took 1 back here, 1 down in my lower body. The doctors at General in Frisco couldn't believe the fact that I was still talking and walking. They said I was the luckiest gunshot victim in the world, you know what I'm saying? And it just so happened that at that time, right when it happened, an ambulance just happened to be right there at the intersection. I mean, I don't have any other way to describe a miracle except for that moment in my life. And kind of just moving on to say, it's like, I came into this world from where I was at, but it wasn't by our doing. And we have to be able to sit there and tell these stories like, yo, that's not us. We're not the barbarians. People want to make us into these barbaric figures. And we're in our music. In our music, we talk about killing each other. In our stories, we talk about how can we mess with the next man's girlfriend and the next man's wife. These are the stories that our kids are getting in their ears. They're getting on Instagram, they're getting on YouTube, they're getting it on Twitter. These are the narratives that our kids are hearing every single day. When is somebody going to speak up for them? You know what I'm saying? We could keep on talking about all these other things going on, but I swear, if we focus on protecting our kids, we will change the future. You know what I'm saying? And that doesn't mean protecting them from anything ever getting to them, but being able to talk to them and give them the model of reality that's going to create success. Right now, the model of reality that's being given to our kids, especially as young Black kids, does not create success. We got to get in there and fix that model. And the only people that can do that is us, because we're the ones that can best communicate with our kids. So once we decide that this is the model that we want, we give it to our kids and we train them to how we want them to be. Anybody that says a kid, the kids could be whatever they want. Hell, I'm the biggest investor in my child. If I don't get to decide how I want to mold my child and you get to tell me how my child should be, I don't get to be at the table to say how I want my kid educated, then that's not my child. That's your child. And if that's the case, then you pay for them. I'm gonna go a little bit deep.
Man,
you
brother,
pay them goddamn bills, damn it.
You going deep, brother. This is what I'm talking about. My blood is flowing. I'm getting my juices going because this is both sides of the conversation, and this is what we have. You touching on it, right? And this is what we talk about, naming it. We got to start naming it. But I can't let it go any farther before Tony asked me that question because you touched on something. And they know, everybody that watch both sides of the conversation know I'm passionate. And I get pissed off when we got these poverty pimps in our community, pimping our community. When we got these nonprofit organizations, the gatekeepers. You get what I'm saying? Because what you said early touched me. And this is the same thing that I'm screaming and fighting in San Francisco and everywhere I go. Because people talk about the work that they're doing. They talk about the work that they're doing. But when you look at the conditions of the people, it doesn't equate to what the work is being done. And this is why I always get pissed off with data, okay? Because these organizations and these folks who ain't from the community, they come in here and they talk about all of the work they're doing. They got the best grant writers. They can make the data look good, and they can do all of the performative stuff to say that they're doing the job. But when you look at the condition of the people in the community, it doesn't reflect the work that is happening. So how do we change that? How do we fix that? And as you come in as the councilman, and people that's going to have a person that's going to have those type of eyes and oversight over grants and what goes out into the community and making sure that your community gets served. How do we keep these poverty pimps out of our community? How do we keep these oppressors that come to our community, continue to oppress our community and continue to cause harm because they can hire the right grant writer, because they can put the right data analytics together and put up a report in front of City Hall and say, hey, look at all of the success we have it. And again, I always ask the folks that come on here, what does that success look like to you?
That is the question. Like like as a community, how is it that we're determining what success is? And other people can't decide what success looks like for us, right? Here's a simple solution to that. And I'll make this one short. John. We're in an era. We're in 2022 where we could put data to everything. Show the damn data. If you don't have the data, cut that off. I mean, I'm so tired. I mean, and again, I was told so many times, fight the problem, not the people. Go hard on the problem, not go hard on the people. So I'm not going to try to go hard on the people. But in the city of Oakland right now, let me give you an example of something that just that I hear about oftentimes. You contact somebody in the city of Oakland regarding a particular problem, you get put on hold, you got to call somebody else, or here, call this number over here, or email this person over here, because nobody is aware of anything that's going on. People are trained to do it the way that they've been trained. We're in 2022 now. We have a way to collect data on so many things if we just digitize certain services, different systems, and different processes. It's one of the ideas that's on the table right now that I know will work. Is like, how come each of these departments in the city of Oakland, and I'm gonna bring it right back down to the nonprofits, how come the departments in the city of Oakland, we don't have an easy way to see the activities that they're doing? The easiest way is I do tech support. And so when an organization says, we wanna know what types of activities you've been doing for us, for our money, we have to report. The easiest way to do it is like, hey, here, let me just export this report and then send it to you. I don't have to touch it up. I don't have to doctor it up. I don't have to try to tell you a story. I just need to get good data. And so this is some of the stuff that people are talking about with doing this with the city of Oakland. We have different departments that have scattered systems. A system that might do this, a system might do that, but it's just not an integrated system. So as an IT person, as a technology person, this is what I want to bring to the city of Oakland is how do we consolidate these systems so that the reports and the data is accurate, good, accurate data, so that we can make more and better decisions faster and more efficiently and get our city into 2022. Now, going back to the nonprofits, same thing can happen. If we can develop a system that, and it's not necessarily for the particular nonprofit, it's for the funding that ends up getting distributed to hundreds of different nonprofits, all saying that they're doing the same damn thing, but we don't seem to have an idea of like how well they're providing these services. How about this? How about we just agree to a scoreboard? That's essentially what a dashboard is. It's a scoreboard. Here's the data points. Here's the way that we're measuring you collectively. Every organization seems to have a different way that they're measuring their successes. What if we start saying and looking at everybody and saying, look, here's a couple of like really general data points that we want to see so that we can be able to see the activities of your organization, and not just from a funder's aspect, but because these nonprofits also serve us. And the reason I'm saying that is when I needed support from nonprofits, or when I was trying to navigate when I was a young person and like, what organization does this, what organization does that, the most frustrating thing for me was there was like 15 of them and you couldn't figure out which one was the right one. How the hell am I supposed to know? They're all like promoting and marketing to me as if they're the solution. I didn't have a scoreboard to really see what it is. Think of the school districts. Right now, as a parent, I'm able to go online, and even though this isn't an official scoreboard, I'm able to go, is it goodschools.com or something like that? And there's a couple of other websites that essentially grade the performance of schools. Now, this is like unofficial information that's taken from, from like public data, parent feedback, stuff like that. But I'm able to kind of get a good sense of like what's going on at this school. I'm able to see what the literacy scores are. I'm able to see what the mathematics scores are. That means a lot as a parent. I don't need a particular person in any organization to try to sell me on a school. Show me the data. Show me what you're doing. That right there is, to me, the biggest indicator of success. Show me the data. If you don't have the data, then how can we help you as an organization collect better data so then you can report it to us? As a nonprofit, be public with it. You ain't got to be secretive. We want to help you. We want to help you succeed, as you're saying that you want to help us succeed. But if you know everything about me and I don't know anything about you, to me, that's just not even a good relationship. And I work with some good nonprofits that are like, they're out in the air with all their data and they show what they're doing. And it made me believe like, this is a good place to be around. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, that was the longer version. Too many nonprofits, not enough results. We don't need, what is it? We don't need 50 chiefs.
Well, I think
we need a couple of chiefs and more. And that's I know there's gonna be people that say you use a chief and Indian analogy that's racist or some shit. I don't know, but here's what it is. We need more people to do the work than people saying that they're doing the work. That makes any sense.
Yeah, it makes total sense, and I think that is agreement that I'm agreeing, and I agree with you on the data. To a certain point, I got my pushback on the data, but I think also. Because of the communities that we live in, right? How do our nonprofits work together in solidarity? We have these larger organizations that doesn't partner with the smaller organizations, and typically the smaller organizations are doing all of the footwork and the boots on the ground, right? So for me, that model change. When people ask me, well, how do you change it? First thing is I want to see who's working with each other, right? Because if you're a large nonprofit in any city and you're not working with the smaller organization, or if you're a smaller mid-sized organization, you're not working with the people, I don't want you in my community. Because that's showing divisiveness, okay? And this is the problem that we have. We have communities looking up to our organizations, to our leaders to lead. When we have organizations that don't work with each other, that's a problem right there. So as elected officials, somebody that's what I want to see change, okay? Find out who's working with each other. I always tell people, they say, John, how you get all this information? How you know what's going on? You said it earlier. You listen to the people, okay? The people going to tell you who's doing the work and who impacted the community. I don't care about no data. Go talk to the people. If you go to the community, these folks don't even know who these folks is. I'm going to tell you the biggest thing in San Francisco is all these people doing violence prevention, okay? And I'm going to just tell you right now, I just talked to a buddy of mine in Chicago, okay? Let me just tell you the problem with this. There's no preventative work happening in violence prevention, okay? And they want to play this game of we're taking young kids from elementary and middle school and we're working with them. And again, every child needs that support, mentorship, so that they can thrive and not be the next generation of violent individuals. But when you start talking to these people and say, we're Lil Ray right now, are you working with the shooters in the community? Nobody got no connection, okay? But the little fifth graders, the sixth graders, the seventh graders, every time I go to these violence prevention summits, every time I'm in a violence prevention space, it's all these kids that ain't doing the violence. I'm the kids that are doing the violence? How are we impacting them? That's how we got to judge these organizations. I'm tired of them going to the schools, grabbing all of the kids from the football team, grabbing all of the kids from the basketball team, all the AAU leagues, all of the kids from study hall, all the kids from the library to talk about violence prevention. I want to see the kids that's out there in the corners that got the guns in the car, standing on the corners robbing folks. How are we impacting them people? Those are the numbers that I want to see. Because and again, nothing to those folks. Every kid needs an opportunity to stay out of trouble and get this service. But where are the ones that's actually doing the work? And how do we create models? Okay, because when you talk about Black males across this country for services, nonprofit, it always comes down to you have to be on probation, you have to be on parole, you have to be on this. What about the young Black males that's in transitioning? They're doing the right thing. They're trying to make it in school. They get no support. When you go to jail, you get some support. You get on probation, you get some support. You use some drugs, you get some support. So as a councilman, I'm hoping that those are the things that you address and bring up. How we provide services to our community, how we do the work. Because I'm going to tell you right now, the models that I see, it's a lot of reactive work going on in our community. It's not no preventive work.
Yeah, I say, and we have to put that into both of those buckets, the proactive and the reactive, right? Now, the reactive, because this is what's going on right now. If we let that fire keep burning, then it's going to burn up the whole city, right? So we do need the reactive work. And I'm very, very familiar with some of the folks that are doing the reactive work in the city of Oakland right now. I was just talking with a few of them a couple of weeks ago and just kind of just chiming in, and they're already on it. You know what I'm saying? But they're not doing it through organizations. They're doing it because they know this has to be done and there's going to be some more killing. So they know who it is. They know where to go. They know they have that connection. They're just not getting paid for it. So this is the type of people that I'm like, they're out there doing the work, putting their respect, putting their reputation on the line to reach out to folks and say, nah, this has to stop, or this is what's going to happen next. Now, those type of figures in our community have usually not had the resources to get the stuff done. And you're right. We hear about stuff about everybody, you know, when it gets tough, when it gets hot, then they bring out all the organizations that say they're going to do this, they're going to do that. And, you know, I have a feeling that it's usually regarding funding models. You know, the funding model says when it gets spicy and then the state says we're going to release this money, then the city says we're going to dedicate this money, then everybody wants to get up and do something. To me, that's a failed model then, because we're only doing something when it gets spicy out here. The other thing though is the preventative stuff. This is where we talk about education, because you can't go back 2 years from a 22-year-old's life. You can't go back 4 years from a 20-year-old's life. You can't go 16 years, so you can't go 6 years back from a 16-year-old's life. You got to go all the way back and say, we're going to double down, triple down on early childhood development in every aspect as we can. This is where the emergency effort needs to really be focused on. If we don't do something with the generation that has the ability to learn a new model, we failed them. This generation right now that's doing the work, that's out here in the streets, we failed them. We failed them. You know what I'm saying? When my son was born, and I said to myself, by the time he gets to 18, if this stuff isn't fixed, and I waited too long actually. I should have said by the time he's 5, if this wasn't fixed, I should have jumped in the game. But I said to myself that it was like, you know what, by the time he's 17, 18 years old, that means he's going to be an adult. That means that's a whole nother 18 years that this city still ain't fixed this shit. But they all been talking for 18 years. I've been in Oakland for 26 years. And every politician has been talking about, we're going to do this program and we're going to do this program, or we're going to write this policy, or we're going to change this law. Then why are we still talking about it? So something that y'all doing ain't working. And I think at the core of it, we just don't have effective leadership. Somebody that can say and connect with the people who are affected to get them to believe and buy in the habit-changing process. It's not about writing a piece of paper. It's about, look, let me follow, show me, let me show you, not let me tell you, let me show you that what I'm saying actually works. I can't sit there and give you a piece of paper and say, read this and you're going to become a technology person. It's better that I just show you. I can't tell you, oh, here, read this book and you're going to become a business person. It's a lot better if I show you. I can show you how to get to the water. I can show you. But once you're at the water, it is your responsibility. I can lead you to the water. I can lead you. I can lead you to the water. It is up to you to drink at the end of the day. But I bet you if there's enough of us drinking at that water, it'll be believable. They'll say, oh, you know what? Oh, shoot, this is a way I can quench my thirst. I don't have to get out there and rob. I don't have to get out there and steal. I can start a business. I can go to college. I can go get a job or whatever it is that you choose to do that's productive. You know what I'm saying? I can do it, and I can see myself doing it. If you put somebody else in front of these kids that don't look like them, that don't sound like them, that don't come from where they're from, you've probably lost 80, 90% of them already. You know, let's look at the quality of what we're delivering to them. And then as we're talking about the violence out there, the biggest way that we can affect that is by being present. You know what I'm saying? I mean you, John. I mean you, Tony. I mean, everybody else that's watching this right now, the best way that we can be effective is to be there. They don't see us. And I know we were working and then we're playing and then we're sending our kids off to all these other people. And all these other people is where they're getting what they got. We got to be there for them. You know what I'm saying? We gotta make sure that they understand we love them unconditionally. Let's not send them off and say, I don't know what to do with them. We love them. Send your kids to us. Send them to us.
Well, you got to come back on the show. You got to come back. You speaking so much knowledge right now. Is the chat is blowing up. People texting me like he is preaching. We running out of time, but we always like to give you some time to speak. You've been speaking though, okay? And we appreciate you coming on this platform. You got to come back again. But we're running out of time. We want to give you the time to say something else to the people, to the community before you leave, and definitely come back on the show. So go ahead and close this out.
One quick thing before you say this, and I think this is the $1 million gem that you just dropped tonight. And I know you hear this all the time because I hear it. I'll be in meetings screaming and cussing. Okay, I'm tired of hearing people talking about meet people where they at, and I think you just hit the nail right on the head. It's too many times folks in our community saying you got to meet people where they at. Meeting people where they at don't mean, hey, if you want services and resources, come to my office at downtown. Meeting people where they at means you in the community, in their community, in the public housing. That's meeting our people where they at. So I just wanted to say that, but go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
You grab them and you bring them. You know what I'm saying? I can't tell you how many times people were like, again, I started my business in East Oakland, and everything I had to do was in downtown Oakland. All the services, all the programs, all the SBA classes, everything was downtown Oakland. So let's talk about the equity of access to services in this city. If I am way in the farthest part of the city, and I have the furthest way to go to get to this, and I have to fight traffic because you've got the class starting at 6 o'clock, that means it's inequitable to me. So when you start talking about meeting people where they at, that means meeting people where they at. If they're right there on the corner, come to the goddamn corner. Don't sit over there and put out a fucking flyer that's around the corner from them, or put out some goddamn Facebook post that says, here, we got this service, or come over here at this night. Come to where they at. And if you're scared to do it, then find the people that can. I'm sorry,
No, you just said it. You just said it.
But this is what we do though. But John, this is what we do. And my brother, I swear I'm gonna send this thing to my brother Ernest Fromm, because me and Fromm, this is what we do. We grab people. When people are starting to fight in front of our shop, we don't sit there and look and pull out a goddamn camera. We don't do that. I know it's risky, but we try to talk to people. We try to get them the resources right there where they're at, and we'll see them again. You can't force somebody, but you can be present so that you can show that here's a model where you don't have to lose who you are and still be successful. You know what I'm saying? So I know we're coming up on time.
You're talking like how Dr. King and Malcolm X was out there in them streets really dragging people and having people. I love this. This
is the realest conversation that we've had in a while. And again, this is both sides of the conversation. So to all of our allies, the folks who are not part of the Black community that's listening in, We always tell you here both sides of the conversation. We don't mind you coming in and listening to the conversation, but we get passionate. Sometimes the conversation get colorful. It get real. It's like coming to the barbecue. You're going to hear some things that you might not understand. You're like, why I have to come out like that? But that's how we handle business in our community. So if you want to be a part of it, you got to be okay with it. You can't get your feathers ruffled because you hear the conversation getting colorful. It's getting a little passion. It's no love lost. We family here. All we doing is keeping it real and talking the truth. That's what we do here at both sides of the conversation. We are not your local news. We are for the community. This platform is for our people, the Black and brown community. We love everybody. We support everybody. But this is for us. And if you want to be a part of this, you got to be able to sit here and listen to the passion. Sometimes the words that invoke some people and say, that's not professional. We're not talking about corporate performative acts. We talk about our community, our babies. We love our babies, our community. We're fighting for our community. When you hear the passion of this councilman, you're talking about love. You're talking about resilience. You're talking about change. You're talking about innovation. He's bringing hope. When you talk about the realness, these are the people we need in City Hall. Let's go keep it real. When we got these fake folks coming in here, talk about things that does nothing for our community, but continue to cause harm. Again, this is love, family. This is what's real. There's a change in Oakland. I can feel it brewing. It's coming out the pot. It's boiling. We got a lot of Black leaders coming to the office. We got mayor candidates. We got councilmen. We got Black folks coming to Oakland that want to make change. They are tired of the same old, same old. This is why they're passionate. This is why they coming here. We tired of the same old game. We tired of the same old politics. It's time for the people. You can't lead the people if you don't feed the people. You can't lead the people if you're not in the streets with the people. It's a lot of love. It's a lot of passion. Brother, I'm happy you're here.
Let Yakpasua close us out. Let him say his last words. John, be quiet. Let John say. Let Yap say his last words. Go ahead, brother.
Go ahead, yeah.
He said it all. I mean, we're really out here. I mean, you know, John, Tony, you guys know we're out here, and we do it in our ways that we do it, but our heart is in it, and we understand what we've seen. Like I said, 26 years being in Oakland, 26 years being in Oakland. That's a long time for something to not change for us. For us to still be in the same predicament that we're in, we have to question the people who have been leading us. We have to. And I'll leave you guys with this. They say the definition of crazy is what? Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Let's do something different. November 8th, if you're in East Oakland, you have the choice to vote for me in District 6. November 8th, vote for me. Everything you just heard from me is exactly what they're going to get from me. It's exactly what you're going to get from me. Somebody that is going to be unquestionably about change that we want to see, not what somebody else wants us to be. And I'll leave you guys with that. Thank you, guys. I appreciate this platform. And I swear to you, I'm going to be sharing this video with as many people as I can. I want our leaders to show up like this.
Brother, you have just did something to my blood pressure. I can't sleep now. I feel like it's hope. Okay? Listen, community. He's for the people. If you can't hear that passion, he's for the people. We got to change.
He is the people. He is the people.
And the thing is this. He's talking about it. And we keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. That's insanity. That's what's wrong with our community leaders sometimes. This is what's wrong with our city leaders sometimes. We are trying to do the same thing. We're trying to sell the community the same models that don't work. Why are we so afraid to try something new? Why are we afraid to try something new, a new ideal? This man is giving us new ideals, new hopes. We got to get out of the program. We got to try something different. The model that's out there is not working. It's seen in our streets. It is time for us, the people, do your job. I can't tell you what to do. November 8th, get out there, make your voices heard.
Go vote, community. Go
Thank you
vote.
for coming on, Councilman. Community. District 6. Feel the love. Feel the passion. There's something coming down in Deep East Oakland.
Hear from you again.
There's change in Deep East Oakland coming. I can feel it. My blood is flowing Deep East Oakland. You shouldn't want to go to sleep tonight. There's change coming in Deep East Oakland.
Pastor John, we're done with the devotion. We're done with the devotion.
Community, we got to go. We got one more segment tonight. We'll be going live in about 3 minutes. We got to switch over. Thank you, councilman, for coming. We'll be following up with you. Don't forget about us. When you get that nomination, make sure you come back and talk to the people. But again, thank you, brother, for coming on, giving up this wisdom, this love, and this passion to the community. We need it. There's a fire brewing. There's gasoline being poured deep East Oakland. The flames is rising. I can feel it. Let's go. Let's go, deep East Oakland. Let's go. All right, community, we see y'all. All power to the people.
Keep ascending.
Peace.